Heavyweight is slipping. We need to teach these young people when it's time to get paid. It is time to get the paper. It's time to get paid. That's what you're missing, Black Heavyweight. You focus on the wrong thing. When the cops slip, that is the moment to get paid, my nigga. All right, I kind of agree with what this guy's getting ready to say. Hold on. I agree with this.
I want to point something out that I missed the other day on the William McNeil traffic stop in the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, and it got a lot closer to William McNeil actually dying than we think at the hands of the police. And that's not sensationalism. I'm going to show you something that I completely missed the other day, but I want to point something up. I think this William McNeil traffic stop needs to be studied more than any other traffic stop, probably in the last 10 years. And this needs to change the way that policing is done. And it's not something I'm comfortable with at all. I'm Dominic Izzo. If you're new to the channel, I am a retired police officer from the northwest suburbs of the Chicago area. I was in law enforcement from 2001 until 2019. I am a former defensive tactics trainer. I am a defensive tactics expert and a use of force instructor. Moving forward, I don't like the stop whatsoever. And I'll get this out of the way because this is such a polarized stop to begin with. The traffic stop was lawful. It was an utter load of garbage with a probable cause. If it went completely as expected, if we will, and McNeil handed over driver's license, insurance, if they need registration in Florida, I don't know, and a ticket was written, that ticket would have been thrown out and laughed out of court. That's how it would have ended up. No headlights activated for inclement weather in Florida. It was the weakest probable cause I've ever seen in a traffic stop. All the way up to the breaking of the window, that was lawful. The force that was used, if you watch the other videos that I've done, and I'll put them in the description the description section of this video. I don't like, from McNeil's perspective, I don't like the use of force that was used to remove him from the vehicle. He is what we call a passive resistor. He was not putting up a fight. And then from both the body camera footage and McNeil's footage, we see he received a total of 8 strikes about the head and body. And you got the infamous stop fighting, stop resisting. And he wasn't resisting in any way that would warrant that type of use of force. That use of force was completely unwarranted, excessive, and action needs to be taken. Now, here's the problem that no one is addressing.
Okay, here. All right. This is why I'm making this video, because I can talk till I'm blue in the face about what I want to focus on. For our people, especially being black or African American, focusing on what the officer did serves no real benefit to us as a people. We need to save our young men and young women. And what this officer is saying right here, although you may say it's slanted towards, just listen, because this, I kind of really agree with this, right? Some of this, right?
50 years old. That use of force was completely unwarranted, excessive, and action needs to be taken. Now, here's the problem that no one is addressing. I'm 50 years old. I was born in 1975 to Italian-American parents. My father never laid a hand on us, but my mother beat the shit out of us. It was do as I say, never question me because I said so. It was extremely classically conditioned. You didn't do something, you caught a beating. It was insane. And that's how we learned. It was classical conditioning to the highest level of degree. As time has gone on, we've seen that in the late 90s, early 2000s, we have a participation award level of children that was raised. The state got involved with many of your kids. Many of you who do discipline, and I'm very a big proponent of physical discipline on your children. Not excessive, but it is classical conditioning, because you can't reason with a 4-year-old why not to touch the stove, because they will burn themselves. You need to give them a little bit of a state change and have them hate you for whatever reason, but they will not get hurt. We remove that from your homes. The state got involved. You're in a restaurant with your kid. Your 5-6-year-old is picking up silverware, throwing it at the table next to you. So you slap their hands or give them a little biff, and what happens? Nosy Karen across the table calls 911, and you as the parent get arrested. The state has done this to you. I saw firsthand countless times in Illinois. DCFS, Department of Child Family Services, has sat there and ruined you as parents. They've arrested so many of you, put cases on you for the minorest of discipline that is necessary to have your kids functioning properly in society. And we see what has happened. That raised a bunch of parents to go through life with timeouts, trying to explain little Johnny, who doesn't understand anything, reasoning and rationale. And we've seen the studies, right? The human brain doesn't develop fully until they're 25. A person's 25 years old, but we want 21-year-olds as cops. We've seen studies of what the food does and how bad now sugar, all the processed food, is destroying the human brain. We've seen that the studies show that in the year early 1900s, 1904, I believe, the average person consumed 2 pounds of sugar per year. And it exceeds almost 200 pounds of sugar per year. There's a reason why I'm correlating all of this and why this truly needs to affect the way that we police. When I was a kid, you never argued with your teachers. Granted, I went to a Catholic grammar school, never argued with the nuns. Nuns never touched us, but that's a different story. When I went to a public high school, it was a culture shock for me, right? Because you had kids that were arguing with teachers, kids that were ditching class, but still, for the most part, we never attacked our teachers. We never fought against them. We never argued with them. The teachers had the rule. And when you went to go get a job after you graduated, or after, when it was summertime for me and I wasn't doing any wrestling, the boss was the god of the store. I was in fast food. I was in retail. And if a boss said something, you did it. You never argued with them. But a lot of you see exactly where society is now, right? That whole participation award generation has grown into kids that question you, argue with you, and they don't respect authority, right? Now, keep that in mind. I went to FTO school, Field Training Officer School, in February of 2015. And the first words out of the instructor's mouth in the entire class, there's probably 40 of us, and the instructor said, "Get rid of your vocabulary, from your vocabulary, because I said so." We're like, what? And he explained, it doesn't matter if you're in a gunfight and you tell your rookie, "Get behind the effing engine block for cover." If the rookie goes, "Why?" Be expected to get a memo to see the chief in the office the next day when the rookie says, "Officer Izzo was mean to me and yelled at me and didn't explain why I had to do something." That generation is now becoming cops. That generation is now, you have to explain to them, "I need you to write the report this way with the evidence and the order we got it and this and that, how you logged evidence, how you cataloged it. You're going to seal the evidence in a bag, put your initials across the tape for the integrity so it's not." Why? Because I said so. You can't say that. Clean your pistol this way. You're going to disengage this and that and blah, blah, blah. You're going to take it apart, disassemble it, and then you're going to clean it, put it back. Why? Because I said so. I want you to come to shift tomorrow knowing what the First Amendment is, be able to give me the tenets of the First and Fourth Amendment is. Why? Because you cannot say because I said so. The police officer that we hire on the street right now, they have to have all the information that they are satisfied with before they progress to a next step and being able to do their job. That's fundamentally dangerous, but it also puts people, you would think this puts people into a position of having more intelligent cops on the street. It actually doesn't. It actually puts more people who are more dangerous on a level that you parents never thought you would create on the street. We have the most dangerous men and women in uniform on the street who are getting back at society in a way nobody's looking at. Now, among that same generation are people who drive cars, are citizens. They didn't go the same route as it went to by becoming police officers. They have their own jobs. They have their own whatever. If you look at what we're talking about in this stop with McNeil, the phenomenon lately in America is for people to get pulled over, question the police, and say, give me a supervisor. We do not educate our youth. We don't tell our youth in a civics class in high school, hey, when you get your driver's license, just to let you know, you are not lawful. You're not legally. You have no constitutional right to say, hey, I want a supervisor. We know that a cop can pull you over.
Did you hear that? Now this is for the T Hill, because I want T Hill to understand this. Police departments, local jurisdiction police departments, state police, depending on the state, depending on the jurisdiction or the county that you're in at the time you have a traffic stop, right? There's no law that says they have to tell you anything. There are policies, like a certain police department will have a policy in their department or in their county or in their state, depending on the jurisdiction. And that policy may say, if they ask you for your badge number and your name, you must give it to them. Well, obviously, if I'm a police officer, I'm like, can you read? My name and my badge number's on my chest, right? So they're not entitled to tell you anything, but there are policies in certain jurisdictions that they're supposed to follow. It's not against the law, and there is no written law or standard. It's just a policy of a certain department in a certain jurisdiction to do things a certain way. They don't have to do the things that you ask for. They don't have to give you a supervisor unless that particular area, they have a policy that, well, if he asks for a supervisor, go ahead and send him one. I just want to make that clear. Now, hold on. I'm going to back up a little bit and not interrupt him because, this is important shit. This is a trainer now.
Who are getting back at society in a way nobody's more intelligent cops on the street. It actually doesn't. It actually puts more people who are more dangerous on a level that you parents never thought you would create on the street. We have the most dangerous men and women in uniform on the street who are getting back at society in a way nobody's looking at. Now, among that same generation are people who drive cars, are citizens. They didn't go the same route as it went to by becoming police officers. They have their own jobs. They have their own whatever. If you look at what we're talking about in this stop with McNeil, the phenomenon lately in America is for people to get pulled over, question the police, and say, give me a supervisor. We do not educate our youth. We don't tell our youth in a civics class in high school, hey, when you get your driver's license, just to let you know, you are not lawful, you're not legally, you have no constitutional right to say, hey, I want a supervisor. We know that a cop can pull you over, never tell you why, and conduct their stop and their investigation. They don't have to tell you anything. But we don't tell these people. We keep the public insanely ignorant, and we expect them to know that when a cop says jump, you're supposed to jump, right? We have those two factions, if you will. We have the citizens and the cops who have both grown up in a world where they're allowed to question whatever they want, but it's the cop now who has the ultimate ego position to say, jump. Why? Because I said so. And if you can't see the problem with this power addiction in America right now that we have given our police, no one is talking about this. No one is talking about this. So I'm going to defend McNeil because he grew up in a time where teachers, if he, not saying he did, but his generation, they argued with the teachers. Teachers were right. What did parents do? They went down, talked to the principal and said, I want that teacher fired. A lot of times that has happened. Bosses, someone in McNeil's generation showed up to work 10, 15 times late and they lost their job. Parents called, complained to corporate, boss got fired. So-and-so got their job back. But now all of a sudden, that generation that has been coddled, timeouts, no physical discipline, being able to argue with mom since they were 4 years old and get away with it. Dad was never allowed to properly discipline in the household and instill into that child, no, this is what authority is, and these are times you need to submit to it, regardless of the bullshit laws that our government creates. That's a whole nother conversation. We now put these kids, they're adults still, they're kids compared to me, in a position where they get pulled over, and now you didn't, as a parent, you didn't tell them because I said so. As a teacher, you didn't tell them because I said so. As an employer, you didn't say because I said so. You depending upon which side of the political aisle you're on, you didn't say because I said so. But now, their entire whole lives have been, I have a problem, you're going to explain it to me till I'm damn good and ready. But now, when a cop says, get out of the car, why? You expect that kid to jump out of the car just like that. We have set these people up for failure. We have set them up for failure. We need to acknowledge that. And the government, the same government that creates the bullshit laws like driving without your headlights in inclement weather, now who has said for cops over the years, you can walk right up to the car. I never had to. Never had to. I can walk up to the car, license, insurance. If it's a stop where I feel that it's reasonable to rip somebody in the car, like we saw that insanely inept Arkansas state trooper pull somebody over for speeding, she just walked right out of the car, tries to rip him right out. It's lawful. As miserable and ridiculous as she did a job, that's still lawful. Well, now if we're going to do this,
hold on. I'm going to post this video on my community tab. Then you can watch the whole video. But I just wanted to put this introduction to let you know that there's a generation that grew up a certain way, and some of them become cops. And some of them are just your regular citizens. And now the ones that are cops are now told that Joe Citizen must do whatever they tell him to do, right? But Joe Citizen didn't grow up that way. And it's the same generation, but now one of them is exercising an enormous amount of power, and it's unfair. And I like the way this guy explained it better than I ever could have. So there you go, T. Hill. You're not entitled to none of that shit. You're only entitled to it. You're in Cincinnati. If you get pulled over by a Cincinnati city police officer or state police officer, and in that jurisdiction, if it's their policy that they must get you a supervisor, then it's their policy. It's not a law. It's just in that jurisdiction it's a policy. And in a lot of places nationwide, it is a policy. If they ask for a supervisor, go ahead and radio in a supervisor. And in some jurisdictions, they're like, you don't have to get them no supervisor. And you don't have to answer any of their questions. When we pull them over, you don't have to answer any of their questions. None. They have to answer your question. Actually, they don't have to answer your questions, but if they don't answer some of your questions, it's an arrestable offense. If you ask them for ID and they don't give it to you, then you ask them for their name and date of birth. They refuse to give it to you, then that's failure to identify. That's an arrestable offense. So there you go. And then you can order them out of the car because they have to be arrested. So now you get to order them out of the car because you legally are getting ready to place them under arrest. If they refuse to get out of the car, okay, that's resisting. That's 2 charges. Then if they fuck around and jerk their hand away or something, that's assault. That's 3 charges. So I'm just saying, this gets, what I'm saying is, you can take a simple traffic ticket and turn it into a felony. And you may never go to prison. They're going to say, we're giving you a break. It's a felony, but no assault on law enforcement is a felony. You kicked. I know you missed, but you kicked at the officer. Seriously. There's laws on the books like that. Assault. There are laws on the books like that. Or you're close to the officer, you said, you spit on me. And you didn't spit on him. But he's just going to say that some spit jumped out of your mouth into his face because he could do that. There are ways they can trap you, and all I'm saying is it's better to focus on the behavior of our children and each other than the behavior of the cop unless you're the victim. You got that? If you're the victim, scream loud, cry, bitch, moan, march, all that shit. I'm with you. Get your money, get paid. But if you haven't been assaulted, when the officer asks you to do something, you do it. And if he assaults you, you still do what he tells you to do. Even if he's illegal as fuck, you still obey the officer and do what he tells you to do. I am a living witness. I got beat by a room of police officers. It must have been, I want to say about 15 cops in that room. They had 2x4s, chains, and iron pipes. Now I'm going to tell you, I've been beaten by cops before. And it's not funny. It's not funny. It's nothing to laugh about. If you're in it, it's not amusing at the time. After it, maybe you'll. I'm saying it's nothing to brag about. It's nothing to talk about, and it's not worth getting a felony. It's just not worth getting felonies. Is just not. I'm telling you, man, it is not worth it. to say why. All right? It's not worth it. It's not worth it.